So with this project, I'll be covering more of the basics of animation in Grease Pencil, specifically how to use onion skins to animate in Grease Pencil. So I start off by making a 2D animation project. This creates a project with a Grease Pencil object already in it, so you can start animating right away. So this is the timeline down here. And to demonstrate what onion skins do, I'm going to draw these two circles at two different points in the timeline. And you can see that there's a faded image of my first circle when I navigate to the second circle in the timeline. This is because onion skins for this layer are already switched on by default over here. I'm adding a third frame between the first two to turn this into the beginnings of an animation. So when I navigate to that frame in the timeline, I can see both the previous and the next frames faded out. So that's kind of what onion skins do. Onion skins allow you to see your other drawings underneath your current drawing to make it easy for you to animate with your previous and your later frames as a reference. So now I'm playing around with the timing to make this animation a little faster. And now I'm filling in the gaps with some more frames using the onion skins of the previous frames and the next frames. Another thing you can do with onion skins is change how many of the previous and the next frames you want to see. So I'm just going to set that to 10. This is really helpful when you want to see how the action progresses for the animation as a whole, and also to get a sense of your blocking and your timing for the animation. You can also change the opacity of the onion skins to make it darker if that's easier for you. It can interfere with the visibility of your current drawing though sometimes, so I prefer to make it a little lighter. That's it for my quick demo, and now on to the project. I created this onion character design and sketched out what some of the frames could look like for a bouncing animation. A bit of a silly pun there, I don't know, onion character, onion skins, whatever. Anyway, I started out by drawing 3 frames of it going up and coming back down. And the first and the last frames are the same because it's going to be a looping animation. And I'm adding a final squish frame at the very end to make the onion seem kind of soft and squishy. I'm adding a stretchy frame coming down to exaggerate the animation a little bit. Adding a couple more in-betweens, and the basic animation is pretty much done. Now I'm animating the stalk, whipping back and forth with the help of the onion skins. I just pulled up my sketches as a reference for the next pass of animation. So on a new Grease Pencil layer, I'm going to start doing my sketch animation. I'm reducing the opacity on my first pass layer, as well as on the onion skins on that layer, so that I can see my drawings better. So now that I have the basic animation down, I can pretty much fill in these in whatever order I feel comfortable with. So I felt like starting with the final squishy frame. So now my next part is to sketch out the character design onto the base that I made before. As another interesting touch, to make the roots of the onion seem more light and loose, I'm adding some follow-through on the roots as the onion is landing. Now I'm sketching out the face of the character on a separate layer. And that's about it for the sketch animation. Now I'm going to add some line art with the new material and the ink pen brush on a fresh layer. You can switch on the onion skins on your line art layer as well. It sometimes helps to see what the previous and the next frames look like. And here's what each of the completed line layers looks like. And after making a new set of materials for all the different colors that I want on this onion pillow, I'm going to go in with some color on another layer. These materials are set to have a fill and no stroke. couple final details to the line art, and the animation is done. And here's a happy onion boy.